What's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I have something very exciting. So I got in the mail the new Juvia'S setting powder. I picked it up in Sahara, so today we will be putting it on. So yeah, we're gonna get super close up. I will show you guys what it looks like in different lighting, and yeah, I'm gonna use a ton of different face products from Juvia'S. So we have the setting powder, as I mentioned, the two foundations, as well as the concealer. So I'm gonna give you guys a bit of a foundation update as well, because I've been using it for the past week. So a lot of you guys have been asking me what foundation shade am I. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave down in the description box below what my winter foundations are and what my summer foundations are, because it does jump up a bit. But if this helps you out, I usually stick to light to medium, and then in the summer I'll just do medium, and then I usually do a neutral skin tone with like a warm or golden undertone. So yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it because I'm dying to know how the setting powder works. This is gonna be a first impression with you guys. I have no idea what it is like because I haven't even tried it on yet. First impressions on my hands, it does feel a little bit drier than other setting powders I've used, but yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys quick swatches of the foundation, concealer, and then the setting powder, just so you guys can see what it looks like really close up, and then we're gonna get straight into the first impressions. So right here we have Cairo in 600, and then right here we have Aruba in 510. So this one, Aruba in 510, is definitely a lot more warmer than I was expecting. So what I'm going to do is mix the two together. Alright you guys, so I already primed my face. You guys know I like the Pores No More Dr. Brandt primer. I do want to give you guys a bit of a foundation update because I have been wearing this one, Cairo 600, for the past week. This one, the Aruba 510, just came in the mail, so I haven't even tried it on yet. So I'll probably be mixing these two. Since you guys saw on the swatches, this one's a bit too warm. So something I noticed when I was applying the Juvia'S foundation is I noticed that it felt a little bit silicone-y, and if you guys feel it against your finger, it does feel like almost like a primer would. So the reason for that is if you guys actually look at the ingredients on here, the second ingredient is dimethicone. If you guys don't know what dimethicone is, it's used in a lot of primers. If you guys go ahead and pick up any primer that is supposed to be blurring or smoothing, most likely the second or third ingredient is going to be dimethicone. So dimethicone is really great because it does help to fill in those fine lines and anything like that. Companies like to use dimethicone because it does kind of create like a protective barrier on the skin, which helps to kind of keep in the moisture and keep your skin hydrated for longer. However, for some people, this may make your acne worse because people say online that it kind of keeps in the sweat and bacteria and all that. In my opinion, I think anytime you're putting anything on your face, you're kind of just putting a layer on your face. I think it just depends on your skin type and on the person. So I haven't really had too much problem with that ingredient, dimethicone, but if you notice that you were breaking out after using the Juvia'S foundation, that might be why. So yeah, I went ahead online and there's just so many articles that say like dimethicone isn't bad for your skin, it's fine if it has that top layer, whereas there's a lot of articles that are saying that it may make your acne worse and it may make your skin even more dry because you kind of end up becoming dependent on it, sort of like when you use petroleum jelly like on your lips. It makes you kind of dependent on that, and to keep using it, so it could kind of dry out your skin because you become dependent on it. So there is just a lot online on it that is actually very interesting. So let's just jump right into the foundation and the setting powder, and then I can talk a little bit more at the very end of the video about everything. So this one is the lighter foundation. And at first it looks like it is like a good match, but I don't know. I felt like when I was wearing it out throughout the day, it was a little too light, and I am getting pretty tan in the summer. So this is the 600 Cairo, and now I'm gonna grab the other one and just create dots all over the face. I also really like to go a little bit darker in my foundations just because I feel like that sort of helps to cover up any redness. So I'm gonna sort of dab and then blend out sort of in circles. Okay, so I like the way those two foundations mix together. I think mixed together they look really good, but I don't think I would wear the 510 Aruba on its own just because I did feel like it was a little bit too warm for my skin tone. So I'm gonna jump into the concealer. The concealer is a bit light. This is in shade 22, but I got it originally for the other foundation that was lighter. Okay, so I'm picking up the setting powder. This one is in Sahara and this one is for light to medium skin tones. There was 5 setting powders and this retails for $12, which is a really, really good price. It is a little bit smaller. Let me just compare it to my Jeffree Star one, but let me see how much product is actually in this one because the Jeffree Star one doesn't have that much product in it. So I'm looking at the box right now to see how much product is in it just so I can kind of compare it to other setting powders. And it does not say anywhere on the box how much comes in it. Like, okay. And then as well on the packaging, I'm not seeing how much is in it. It is made in the USA though. Yeah, it doesn't say how much. It's so strange. I've never really seen like it not be placed anywhere, and honestly I don't even think it says it online. So I have no idea how much product is in this. It doesn't say online. I thought maybe it would say even behind this label, but no, there's nothing underneath the label. So if you guys can let me know in the comments below if you know how much product is in this, definitely let me know because I always try to kind of measure it. There's like a really good website online which is price per OZ per ounce, so you can kind of compare it to other setting powders. I really wanted to compare it to the Jeffree Star one because I thought this one was a bit pricey for how much product came in it. So I like to apply my setting powder in 2 ways. I like to grab a damp beauty blender and just bake underneath. And then I'm also gonna apply it with a brush on the other side and just kind of tap it off on the hand and just apply a little bit underneath and kind of see which one is better. I feel like honestly it just depends which technique you're going for. I feel like if I'm going for a more natural look, I'll do the brush. And if I'm going for a more snatch look, then I will use a damp beauty blender. And like if I just don't want my makeup to move at all. Okay, so on this side, I will do the damp beauty blender and the other one, I'll just use a brush. My concealer is still a little bit wet, so that's good. I'm going to apply a little bit on my chin just because my makeup always comes off there and then let's apply a little bit, maybe on one side, and then leave the other side for the brush. I'm actually gonna apply a little bit more to my under eye just to really bake. So far so good. It looks like it's really like minimizing and blurring. So far so good. It looks like it's really minimizing and blurring my pores. You guys know I like that. So I'm gonna go in with the brush now. So usually when I apply it with a brush, I'll get kind of like a small tapered brush like this and get a little bit of powder and then tap off any excess right here on my hand. I'm actually going somewhere tonight, so I feel like one side of my face is gonna look different than the other, but that's okay. That's what I do for you guys on here on this channel. I'm really dedicated. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see everything. And then I'm gonna go ahead and bring my camera to the window so you guys can see what it looks like in natural daylight. Because you know we like to zoom in and get real personal on this channel. So I will leave a text here on the side to let you guys know which one I use the brush on and then which one I use the damp beauty blender. And I can tell that this side is a lot better than this side. So far, first impressions, I like that it isn't getting into my fine lines, especially right here. That kind of may have had to do with the foundation as well. As I mentioned you guys, it has dimethicone in it, which is what is used in primers to help kind of fill in those uneven lines. So far I like it. I feel like it's not getting into my fine lines at all because I have a little bit of fine lines right here. So, not bad. I definitely prefer the other side. Like the side that I use the brush like does not look as smooth as the other side. So let's zoom in even more to the forehead and chin. So yeah, I like it so far. It looks pretty smooth. I'm gonna let you guys kind of know my final thoughts at the very end of the video and like what I think about it compared to other setting powders I have. Okay, you guys, so I'm in front of my window right now so you guys can see what it looks like. It is such a sunny day out. Okay, so now that you guys have seen what it looks like in natural daylight and in studio lighting, let me know what you guys think. I am going to do a wear test. It's only 2 p.m. right now. I'll be back really late because I'm going to work. So I'll be back to do a wear test probably around like 10 p.m. So that will be a while from now. Okay, so now I'm gonna jump into bronzer, blush, highlight, all the works so I can look alive again. Okay you guys, so I'm picking up this bronzer from Kevyn Aucoin and this is in Dusk Medium. This is the Nuo bronzer, and this bronzer kind of reminds me of this bronzer that I used to use from Guerlain, but Guerlain is really expensive. So it does look a little bit dark right here, but it does have a bit of a reddish undertone and it blends out actually really nicely. So this was actually sent to me complimentary by Kevyn Aucoin, so I'm very excited to try this. So whenever I do a first impressions, I do like to apply products on top just to kind of see how they will sit on top. I actually really like the way that bronzer looks on the face, the one from Kevyn Aucoin. That was my first time using it. First impressions is actually really nice. I like how it has a bit of that reddish tint. It makes it look like the bronzer is more of a natural bronzer. So now picking up my Viseart blush palette, I do want to apply a little bit of blush right here, especially to see kind of how the blush applies on top of that powder. I have been liking these two shades lately, so I will go in with my Real Technique brush and just kind of mix the two. So far, I like the way that blush is applying on top of the powder. Just very seamless. I'm going to pick up this highlighting shade from the Natasha Denona Bronze and Glow palette. This is the Glow Impact powder. I've been really liking it because it's a very intense highlight, but it has like no glitter in it, so it looks a little bit more natural. I'm gonna go ahead now and apply setting spray and then do my eyes and lips, and then I can let you guys know my first impressions on what I think about this setting powder. Alright you guys, so I'm ready to give you guys my honest opinion on what I thought about the new Juvia'S setting powders in the shade Sahara. So obviously this is a first impressions, and then my wear test will be 8 hours later on, so that will be in the future. So future Andrea will be talking about what I think about the setting powders later on. So right now, this is before I did the wear test, so my opinions may be a little bit different on the wear test before this clip. So yeah, right here, I'm gonna show you guys a photo of my face unedited. I just took this with flash. I turned off all my studio lighting and I just took this in my room. The only light that's coming in is natural light, but there's like no studio lights. And I took this with flash, so this is what it looks like. So it looks pretty good. I don't really see any flashback. If you guys have ever used the Makeup Forever HD powder, you know that one has really bad flashback, so it doesn't look anything like that. So it looks pretty good. I feel like if I were to wear this out, it would look fine. The only thing in the photo is like when I zoom in, my skin does look a little bit dry, and it does feel a little dry. I kind of like this side of my face better, the one where I use my damp beauty blender. I just feel like here it looks a lot more smoother. And so the price point on this setting powder is $12, which at first glance you don't really think is a lot, but there is a setting powder that I actually think I prefer a little bit more than this one, and that's because I kind of felt that this one was a little bit dry, and I think you guys can see it in the pictures and close up, whereas this one I thought was a little bit better. It's more smoothing. So this one's $12, and it definitely comes with a lot more product than this one. I wish I could break it down for you guys price per ounce, but I cannot find anywhere on the Juvia'S site or on the box or on the packaging what the ounce is. So if you guys know, please let me know, because I want to give it like an accurate representation, and then I can update it down in my comments. My only issue is that it just comes in this one shade, and I feel like they need to really expand the shade range. Actually reminds me of the Jeffree Star setting powder. I did a comparison on my channel and I found these two to be pretty similar, but I thought this one was a bit more brightening. So I think if you have normal to oily skin, you would actually really like this setting powder. But if you guys notice here, it doesn't look dry, but up here it looks dry. That's because up here it's more, my skin is combination, so up here it's a little bit more dry for me, whereas here this is where I get more oily. So this actually ended up being really nice in my oily areas, but the areas where I'm dry, I felt like it didn't look that good, especially in the picture. Like you could really see my texture and the powder just kind of sitting on top. So for that reason, I kind of prefer the Jeffree Star Cosmetics powder, and there's just something about this powder that makes your skin like very airbrushed. And I also feel like the Jeffree Star one is very finely milled, so you don't really feel it on top of the skin. So I'm feeling the Jeffree Star one over here on my fingers, and this one just feels a little bit smoother, like it kind of just glides on your finger. Whereas this one feels less smooth and a little bit more drier, and you can see my fingers, like I'm kind of like moving them. Like this moves a little bit more smoother, like it's just sliding, whereas this one you kind of have to drag it a bit. But I think if you have normal to oily skin, you are going to love this setting powder because it definitely grabs up all the oil. And so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a quick clip of what it looks like in the natural daylight, zoomed in with my makeup on top. Okay, so this is just a quick zoom in of what my skin looks like after I apply all that makeup. So I'm going to zoom in even more so you guys can see what it looks like, and I'm right in front of my window. So you guys heard me mention this before, but I really like how the setting powder doesn't really go into your fine lines, because right here I do have a little bit of fine lines, like right here, and it looks pretty good. It like didn't settle into any lines, and sometimes I have smile lines too, and look, it doesn't look bad at all. I also tend to get lines here because I like to go like this a lot, and it looks pretty good there too. Alright, so I'm back, and I've been wearing this makeup for the past 8 hours. 8 hours and 40 minutes if you want to be exact. I started filming around 2 p.m. today, so it's 10:42. Alright you guys, so to let you know kind of like the environment I was in while I was doing this wear test. So I work in New York, so I take the subway. I'm outside, so it is pretty hot in New York, so I was sweating. As you can tell in my hair, I'm all frazzled. I feel like my makeup is still kind of here. I think I might have scratched myself here, but I am noticing kind of some things around the forehead. So as always, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see everything up close and personal, and then I'm going to let you guys kind of know my final thoughts. Okay, so on my forehead, I do see it like seriously separating. I was sweating a bit, but not that much. I don't really touch my forehead a lot, so it is really coming off a lot on my forehead, and then sort of seeping into those fine lines that I have right here, because I like to kind of go like this a lot. So I always just like confuse that light. This is what it looks like on my cheeks. It looks alright. I feel like my texture is definitely coming through. Alright, so I know I've mentioned this before, but I have combination skin, so usually my makeup does start to come off here in my T-zone, and usually that's where like my oil starts to come through. So I'm not surprised that it is sort of starting to break up. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like other powders I've worn sort of stayed a little bit longer, like the full 8 hours, and this is like really starting to come off, like right here. So when I first checked this, like the first 4 hours, I thought this actually looked pretty good. But I think if you wear this for the full 8-9, you're definitely gonna have to touch up, because it is gonna start to kind of come off a bit, as you could see. So yeah, I am a little disappointed because I thought filming this like later on today with my wear test, I thought that this would definitely stay on because it was, you know, more drier and more matte, and I thought that that would kind of control the oil. But I feel like my oil is coming through, and it's sort of starting to, you know, dissipate and sort of disintegrate with the makeup. So for me personally, the way it's looking right now, I don't know if I would recommend this setting powder for all day wear. I think if you're just gonna wear this for a couple hours, it is a really nice setting powder. It is a little bit more on the matte side, and I did think it was a little bit more drying. Like even wearing it now, I do feel like my face feels a little bit dry. So I would recommend this Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer because it is very hydrating. I would also recommend like a gel based or a water based moisturizer if you are gonna wear this, because I did think it was a little bit more on the dry side. So overall, I did like how it looked like initially, but in my long wear test, I didn't really like how it's starting to look. Like I feel like it's really starting to come off, especially on the forehead. Alright you guys, so to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this setting powder. I feel like there's other setting powders that I use that last even longer. For example, the RCMA one, and this is basically the same exact price point. So in a way, this one's actually cheaper because I think this comes with more product versus this. I would tell you the exact amount if I could at least find somewhere online, you know, even on their Instagram, somewhere of how much ounces this have. So yeah, it definitely looks like a lot more comes in the RCMA one, and I actually prefer this one. I just feel like it lasts all day. Same thing with the Jeffree Star. And same thing with the Jeffree Star one. I feel like it lasts better all day. So for the Juvia'S setting powder, I did like it initially. I liked how it looked on my skin maybe the first 4 hours, but I did not like it throughout the day. I also felt that it was a little bit more dry and a little bit more matte than most setting powders that I use, so I felt like I didn't like that for that reason. And if you guys do end up getting this, definitely feel it against your finger compared to other setting powders, and you can just tell that it doesn't feel as smooth. And I feel like on my skin you can definitely see that as well. So that's pretty much it. I don't think I will be purchasing it again because I don't feel like it really lasted all day, and I didn't really like how it felt on my skin because it did feel a little bit more on the drier side. So at first I thought I would recommend this for people who have normal to oily skin, but the only thing is that if you are looking for a setting powder that will last all day, I'm not sure if that will last you all day, because me just being oily in my T-zone, it was already starting to come off. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram at beauty by JV, and I'll see you guys next time.